Alright guys, today's video is going to be about, we're just going to ramble a bit, talk about, what do we want to talk about? Let's talk about someone suggested to talk about the Korea DDoS thing. I don't really, that deal is whatever, in my opinion. Does it suck? Yes, but like, I don't really see an angle where it really is going to make a difference. I don't think that stopping LCK from playing games is going to make Twitch do whatever you want it to do in Korea. I just don't think that those really align with each other. So I don't get that. Um, what do we want to talk about? Let's talk about my expectations out of. We'll make this video. What's the expectations out of a top laner? What do I want out of a top laner? I want a top laner that's strong. Of course, everyone wants a top laner that's strong. Everyone wants every player they have to be strong. But the way I view top lane is, you know, the best players are not only the ones that can sit on their own, get no prio, and affect the game regardless, whether it's creating space, creating pressure, taking turrets, or also getting into fights, making things happen, right? Depending on how much proximity a player gets, that should determine their value within the game and what that team is in, what the team believes that player's value is in their champion selection and how it works into the composition. Like if you have an Ornn, you may say to yourself, I don't really care about getting this Ornn all that ahead, so I'm going to leave it alone as long as it doesn't int its face off. Ornn, Gragas, Malphite, things like that, Sion in the top lane. You see players that can't play those champions because they need the proximity, they need the help, they can't play and lose gracefully. And that's why a player like 369, in my opinion, is so valuable, because he can do those things and then also play strong carry oriented champions and do very well on them. So you offer flexibility. In my opinion, you're going to hear this in the next few videos I do when it comes to these daily videos when I'm on vacation, is flexibility to me is one of the most important things I see in a player. Some people value just hands, and I think hands, of course, is up there in terms of importance, and you need hands to be able to play many different champions, but you also need to have the ability and the mentality to play different ways in general. You need to have that mentality to say, hey, nobody's going to help me. I am on an island, and I need to have relevance in this game. Wonder, historically, in the LEC has been very strong at that as well. Weak side king. Like, that's really important. And some teams, you clearly see what type of team they have, right? The top laner is best at weak side. Maybe, frankly, they're not that good, right? And you're going to put them on weak side champions because hey, they're going to probably lose lane anyway. Let's give them something with value that in the mid to late game, an Ornn ulti, Malphite ulti, Gragas cask, things like that, they're going to have value. Ornn Hell with the items has value. Whereas if you put them on Camille, Jax, Fiora, things like that. Sante now is a bruiser, but Gnar as well in that conversation. Well, actually, no, let's take those two out. Sante, Gnar, different group. Jax, Camille, Fiora, Tryndamere, side lane champions. We want them to be ahead, but we also have to understand that this champion's not really factoring into our team fights all that much. Are they going to have to eventually get into team fights when we have a Hextech ultimatum and what was I going to say? I mean, we've seen Fiora plays, we've seen Jax plays in terms of making things happen. Hell, Jax is now a fringe jungler for a reason, right? But also when they're in the top lane, you say, hey, as long as this guy is within reach, he's not going to get blown out in the side lane. He can go into the side lane and he can go take a turret. He can force the other team to answer. And that's what the top laner's job is forcing the other team to answer. Whether that's with the jungler or whether that's with the mid laner, or in combination one of those and the support, like draw pressure, and like that's without a board, it's just going all over the place. So you have the weak side tops with relevance. You have the top laners that can be on an island and throughout the game, and they're creating pressure, and their TP is valuable. They're split push. And then you have guys that are on bruisers that are going to have to team fight, right? So they have to be even with their opposition because they have to have equal value in the team fight, whether it's Gnar and his ulti, throwing people against the walls, Mega Gnar, or it's Sante picking off an AD carry or a mid laner and taking them out of the fight completely. We've seen that Clearly, players are doing that better this year than they did last year. More K'Sante games under their belt. I'm noticing that the accuracy in terms of selection with the alties in team fights is stronger. And we're seeing some players really excel at that and win games solely off of that in the final and most important team fights. And I think that's impressive. A lot of people want to say, oh, K'Sante's not that good. Tired of seeing K'Sante. I think plays like that are really skill expressive. Sure, it's OP to take a player out of a team fight, but at the same time to be able to pick that player off. You know, we see a lot of players screw up and not get right target selection and maybe on Nautilus hook the wrong player or you know what I'm saying. Take a player and you got the wrong. You don't want to be K'Sante and try and get, I don't know, the Ornn out of a fight after the Ornn just did its ulti anyways. Like, it doesn't have as much value. You're not gonna probably kill a tank anyways. So like the best top laners can do all of that, and also I feel like top lane has the ability to have the highest variance in terms of champion selection outside of support. We're seeing Mirwin with Mad Lions Koi, and he did this last year. That's why I said it in my prospect video. A lot of people think that I didn't like Mirwin, that I didn't like Mad Lions Koi, but they didn't listen. Mirwin, one of his most played champions last year was Varus and Karma, if I recall correctly. 3 of his most played champions, Varus, Karma, top. Like, that's a guy that's ready for the LEC stage. That's a guy that, in my opinion, can go to an international event, and I actually am not worried long term. First time, he may shit his pants. But the second, third time, development, gets better, more experienced, understands the moment, and he can be a international top laner. Not like, oh, he's going to play there, but not playing the LCK LPL, but he can go there and he can be competitive. I really do think Mirwin is that type of player. I think Oscar is almost that type of player. No, last year he had some struggles, but he deserves a lot more grace than people give him. I think they just, I don't know. I think that people are just so impatient that they shoot themselves in the foot, and it's truly just embarrassing, that impatience. But that's whatever. So yeah, I like a top laner that can do everything, and everyone wants a player that can do everything. But the thing is, that's why I put 369 number 1, and Zeus is up there too, and that's why Keen is up there. Keen plays a lot of Ornn. That's why I value players that can do a lot of different things. When I look at a player and I say, wow, this player is an X player, right? As in, like, I know this player is really split push oriented. Jalahu is a great example. A guy that I think is very good at the split push type champions, but we don't think of him on an Ornn, right? We don't think of him on a Malphite. And that's what's going to hold him back long term. He can't play that stuff. Where Bin, I should just say Bin. Over the years, Bin has been that type of guy that, like, he is the best at carry-oriented tops, but he doesn't play the other ones. So it's like, what do we got here? He's a one-dimensional top laner, and I don't like one-dimensional players. You're going to find that over the videos if you haven't watched my content over the years. One-dimensional players, to me, they're predictable. Coaches don't take advantage of how predictable a player is. In scouting, in my opinion, I think that there are opportunities to take advantage of players that are one-dimensional, and teams just simply don't do it. They get blinded by other things, the meta, things like that. And you can really just attack a player, take them out of the game, knowing what they're probably going to do, and wait until they surprise you and don't do what you expect them to do, if that makes sense. Like Knights Azir, people banning Knights Azir. Well, he plays at this moment and that moment once in a great while, and it's like he plays it against bad teams. So he doesn't play it in big moments. He's not comfortable enough on the champion, so why would you ever ban Azir? But that's another conversation. But the same thing can apply to top lane as well. There are players that are like, they're never going to play that, don't ban it. Bin is never going to play. I'm not expecting Bin to play a tank top. Now with Knight, is there an opportunity for that? Yes. But will they do it? Often. I don't know. I don't even know how many games Ben has played on Ornn in his career. I don't think it's a lot. So, I don't know. That was a rambling video about top lane. Comment down below with your opinions. Like the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.